talk about it so that when you get covered, people can buy it. That's a sort of a short-sighted way to look at it. You really want to talk about the game as much as you can, as much as people are willing to hear the story.
A couple of years back, there was a pretty terrific movie called Indie Game, the movie, and now we get another video game movie. There have been a couple over the last couple of years.
Thing, yeah.
This one is called GameLoading. I didn't know anything about this. I sat down to watch it last night. Believe it or not, I watched it via Steam.
Yeah.
Had some technical problems, but that's between me and Steam.
Yeah.
This movie is about the indie game scene, which seems to be growing exponentially every time we go to another conference.
Yeah.
I just got back from the Game Developers Conference, at this point a few months ago.
Yeah.
The IGF, the indie game part of the GDC, is getting bigger and bigger all the time. Who are the people in there at the IGF? It's these people.
Yes, I know, and it's part of the democratization of all of these digital tools that people have around the world. People have aspired to make games. Now they have them. All the information and engine technology, all of that stuff is readily available, as is lamented by many of the old pioneers of game making. You see Tom Hall in there. You see lots of faces from really big, huge titles, like from the Intellivision days to the Doom days. A lot of pioneers are featured in this documentary, which I think was very thoroughly researched. John Romero has a big part in this. Thoroughly researched, and I found it incredibly fascinating, mostly because this is a world that we don't get to see that often. It definitely strikes me how young everybody is in this thing. This is the next emerging generation of game developers out there, but also the hunger that these developers have to create something more emotional, more personal, more unique, and I think they've done a pretty good job, the filmmakers, at capturing the passion, you know, and letting us see inside the minds of these really articulate and fun people.
You know, I'm personal friends with Victor Lucas, who has been part of the video game industry for 42 years, and so it's hard not to sit down when you watch this kind of documentary and feel a little bit of vanity, because you're not looking for yourself necessarily as you're watching, but you're looking for people who you know. And I got to be honest with you, I know John Romero. I'm not personal friends with him, but I really didn't know any of the game makers at all, and I don't feel like I ever really got to know them over the course of the film. I don't really feel that this is necessarily better than what Indie Game, the movie, did. I think they had the same subject matter, they had the same field of people to pull from, and I think Indie Game, every step of the way, and I'm sorry to be talking about another movie, not this one, but they made better choices. They chose better people. I feel like the filmmaking is better, and the storytelling is better. I feel like there are some important moments here, but it takes so long to get to those important moments. I mean, there are the guys who had their game Ridiculous Fishing, which was cloned by somebody else.
Yep, that's wrong.
And I felt a little heartbreak there for those people. I thought, why not tell that story sooner? That pulled me more into the film. There weren't enough of those kinds of stories.
Well, what I liked about this is that they did go in a different direction than Indie Game the movie and talked more about the movement. Almost gave us a sense of where things have gone since a pretty big phenomenon like Indie Game the movie shone a spotlight on something that had been unexplored before, and it feels like it is accelerating. I mean, and there's even a fantastic sequence of a train jam where you get to see a bunch of really young developers riding a train for hours and hours, building a game along the way, and you get to see the exhaustion and the exaltation in coming up with ideas and building things together.
You know, I gotta say something, and you're probably gonna fire me again after I say this, but this made me dislike indie games more than I ever have before.
Why?
It didn't really pull me into it. I felt like all of these people, I just want to punch in the neck. I just feel like, why are they there? Why do we not see them working jobs? Do they all? I don't even know where they're getting money to make these things. They're riding this train from, I don't know where, Chicago to San Francisco. They look so entitled. Let me see them working their day jobs and then making this game at night.
All right, so you hated GameLoading,
I think
Rise
it's
of the
terrible.
Indies.
Go rewatch Indie Game
What are
the
you
movie
going to give it?
again. I'm giving this a 3. Turn away.
I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. I think it's very solid and fascinating
You
stuff.
disgust me once again.